Happy Thursday, everybody. Happy February. Just getting myself set up. Come on in to the Spirit Say room. Enjoy some music. Get cozy. If you're joining me tonight in your home or you're somewhere where you can get comfortable, light a candle, burn some incense, turn the lights down. This is our meditative space where we sit down and we talk about all things in our spirit and how we make it through the week. So, peace, bro. How you doing? I think you're in California. Thank you for joining us. Hey, Nishi and NYC Belly Girl. Hey, Kay and Karen and Sean and Sherm. Hi. Little Erykah Badu for you this Thursday evening. Happy Black History Month. I don't know. I don't really get too beat about the whole Black History Month. I just feel like, why not rebel the whole thing and just do it in March? Because I feel like March has 5 weeks in it. Like, just because. Like, why does it have to be in February? Just rebel. Resist. But nonetheless, happy February, happy Black History Month. Oh, the Bay Area. Bro is joining us from the Bay Area in Cali. How's the weather there? It's cold in here in New York. I am longing for warm weather. Just gotta grind it out just a little bit more. What it do, Kwame? How you doing? Good to see you too. Cashew. Yeah, we're here, everyone. This is Thursday Night Spirit Say with Cash. Vibing to some nice neo-soul tunes. Yes, that will be in our background. It has been a full 4 weeks with this new venture that I'm really excited about still. And today I actually posted up on YouTube every episode that I've done so far. So it was 4 episodes in the month of January. We talked about marriage, mental health awareness in the Black community. We talked about the promise of the vagina and the puss. The puss and the penis. Hi, Kira. We talked about, hi, Ivan. We talked about prayer and praying for the men that we love. We talked about, I'm missing one. Oh, your needs. How to honor your needs and as well practice self-love. So I'm going straight through with this thing. You know, I don't know how many people will listen. Hey, Amelia, Samantha, and Erica, and Pia, and Latifa, and Aaron. Hi. Hey, Anthony. And again, if you come through and you leave and you come back or you tell somebody, it's all good. I appreciate it. You know, it's just started this thing because I have transitioned in my spirituality and strengthened my relationship with God. And I understand that means, hey, Latifa, that means that whatever goodness kind of flows through you in your spirit, if it's good and if it's truth, you're going to want to share it. So, you know, my disclaimer here is that I'm not here to judge anyone, and these are just ideas and feelings that I have pondered on and find peace with, and I just want to share it with you. Yes? Are we ready? I think we're ready. I can't say your name. I see Bones, though, so hello, Bones. I'll take that piece. So last week we were talking about praying for the men in our life and how important it is to pray for those that we love in general, but in relationship to men and women, how prayer for a man can be really a revolutionary act, I believe, of love for yourself and for someone else. Hey, Yali. Hey, Mr. Anderson. And how important it is to kind of create that space in your relationship. And I suggest that it can reside in any relationship. You know, it's funny. I started back working these past 2 weeks, and I feel like I came out of work because I injured myself and at work, and I came back into like a hellhole. And maybe it was a hellhole before I left, but I feel it even more now. And you know, and just practicing more conscious spirituality and how I want to be in the world going forward. I'm watching my thoughts, you know, I'm watching the things that I think in relationship to what comes at me from the external environment. And I got to tell you, this week I was ready to put a hit out on more than one person. I don't know if I should say that on something that's recorded and streaming. I don't know if that could be used as some kind of evidence. I don't watch Law and Order, but my mind, hey Frito, Natasha, Andrea, Shariah, my mind most certainly wanted to lay hands. And I just had to say, you know, you're allowed to have these thoughts. You know, if you are thinking about asking people to, from the hood, as a friend of mine said to me today, her sect would be the mob. If you're thinking and you're fantasizing about making a call and just resolving your issues, it's just a thought. It's the action behind it that probably is more safe, and the inaction actually. But I've been, you know, tracking my thoughts because this is how vile of an environment I'm in. And I've never thought that way before. It scared me. You know, I'm like, yo, I'm tripping. But when I step back from that thought and just recognize that it's just like a little bubble passing my mind, I can drop into the more conscious part of myself that says, all right, more people to pray for. And not in a condescending way. I really mean that, you know, and I guess that's what I'm sharing is I want to spread this understanding of compassion and empathy, which is really difficult to grasp, but not so hard if you practice like anything else. And I find a lot of peace in that, in asking God to wrap an individual up in the most abundant love possible who is giving me negativity and strife, because I don't know what they're going through. As wicked as they are being to me, I have no idea what they're going through and why I'm the target either. But I also cannot allow myself and my center to be shifted. And that's why my relationship with God is so important to me, because it helps me to stay grounded and not make calls to the hood at odd hours for meetings for people to have in the morning when they're leaving for work. And that's it. I'm going to leave it there. Because anything else might be self-criminating. God forbid something goes wrong. Hey, Carly. Hey, Sam. So, yes, it's this practice of prayer. So in all of our relationships, when we're not being heard, when we're not being seen, when we're not being respected and valued, and when our words are falling on deaf ears, there may be a time to take a different approach. And prayer and meditation and spiritual work around someone that you care about or don't care about is resourceful. And it's nothing to scoff at or, you know, it's funny. I was at work yesterday and this girl that I work with, she doesn't particularly care for me. What reason? I don't know. I don't work around her very often, but I've heard through the grapevine that she doesn't like me. All right, that's fine. I work with her anyway. I go there, I do what I got to do, you know. And one of our coworkers happened to put on a T.D. Jakes sermon, and the sermon was talking about this very thing. He was saying, you know, finding a way to ask for goodness and prayer and strength over people who essentially badmind you or have a vendetta on you in your workplace and your family, whatever the case may be. So she stopped the recording and she said to me, I just have a problem with this because I feel like it's phony. I feel like if I wish well to someone who doesn't wish me well, I'm being phony. And my coworker said to her, well, you got to fake it till you make it. Maybe you do feel like you're being phony, but you could try until it doesn't feel inauthentic. And she said, she looked at me and I said, well, you could actually pray to be in a space where you can not be phony, and then that's basically, part of the conversation that we've been having around prayer here is, it's not all about asking about what you want. If you find yourself praying to the higher power that you serve, for me, it's God, and all you're doing is asking for things, then it's a one-sided relationship. That's no different than someone who only calls you when they need a ride or a meal or money. And none of those relationships feel good because they're not nurturing. They don't go both ways. So, consider it that. Ask what you're willing to give to be able to receive something that's going to progress you farther. So that's just a little recap from last week. I want to say to my Instagram Live folks, my phone is having a little bit of an issue. So unfortunately, if I lose you, you can jump on Facebook, Cash Shelley. CASH space SHELLY is my Facebook name if we're not friends. And you can friend me on there and, I'll link it up that way. It's also public, so if you go to my page, you should be able to pull up because I don't know how long I'm going to be able to last. Let's see what Carly's saying here to add to our conversation about praying for people who don't give a damn about us. As a teacher, I do this every day. Step back and take a breath and wish them well. Some of these kids I work with are going through a rough luck. I instill this message in them every morning. Dope. I'm glad you do. I'm glad that they have somebody there to hear that message because it's really important. Because we do live in a society and in a space that it's so much more common to respond to how you feel through your behavior as a response versus responding to how you feel as a signal for yourself to know how you need to respond to who you are and further who else is in the, the external environment. So thank you for that, Carly. I'd love to hear from everyone else. Tell me, how do you deal with this anxiety? I know we all have a certain level of anxiety, angst, discomfort. If someone's working at an establishment and it's perfect, can you get me an application? Hook me up. I can put your name down, please. If no one's having disdain at work, hire me. I smile in the morning and I don't require coffee. I'm a wonderful coworker. Please bring me on board because, it's definitely a challenge. So this week, and again, since, we're moving on in topic, but still post up how you deal and let me know if you also practice any prayer over the past week for someone in your life who may not be hearing you all the way, but you still want to think of them in a conscious and positive way so that your relationship can flourish. So this week, I wanted us to talk about something that is so real to all of our experiences in life and relationships, and is often so horribly disguised and projected onto other people, and that's insecurity. Insecurity. I find that insecurity, words like insecure, jealous, envy, are like trigger words. I find that people have a hard time with these words, right? That, in some communities, if you dare say, I'm jealous of something, or I envy this person for that, you may as well have said, it's like blasphemy, essentially, to express that. In other cultures, it's never acknowledged, but often practiced, and then slyly referred to as hate. Or, you have relationships with people that are really falsified, and they are, and that person knows that they are, but you kind of have to deal with each other, and so you make the best of it. But maybe on the inside, someone could be wishing a person not well, or someone in the envy realm. I know I've experienced this. You have people who are close to you, and if they could zip you open from here down, step inside you and put you on like a coat, it would give them a sense of satisfaction because they really, truly feel like you possess something that they don't have. And, what I often notice on social media is people love to talk about their haters. That's like a constant conversation. I'm sorry, I got a piece of hair I'm just trying to, I want to look good for y'all. I know I promised you an outfit every week, but you get in the upper outfit. We in the upper room tonight. Red top, red lips, little choker chain action. That's all you get for this evening. But yeah, I noticed on social media, everybody talks about having haters. That's the constant conversation. This person is hating on me and that person is hating on me and stuff like that. And I think there's a problem with that. And there's a problem with it always being about someone hating on you. Maybe you're hating on yourself and it's being reflected back to you through another person. And that's how insidious jealousy, envy, and insecurity can be. And on the flip side, they are amazingly resourceful for your self-growth if you can use them appropriately and not attribute them to negative aspects of who you are. They're part of your human experience. It's not a crime. It's not a crime to feel jealous of something. It's not a crime to have envy for something. It's not a crime to be insecure. Okay, these are feelings. Like I learned in grad school, one of the most phenomenal things I've ever learned is that your feelings are not facts. And once you hear that, you know it. But then when it moves down and it like lives inside you, it changes everything, because then you can feel whatever you feel like. It doesn't change who you are as a person, and it doesn't have to dictate how you behave in the world. It's just a feeling, and that's okay. And so, yeah, on one end, you have insecurity and jealousy and envy as being really insidious and really dangerous if you're using it from the wrong spirit. And on the flip side, insecurity, jealousy, and envy can be revolutionary, powerful, and a radical act of self-recognition if you use it on the positive side. So I wrote a little bit. I do that every week. I read a little bit and I share. Amelia says, "Man, if I wasn't watching these, let me give your words life." Yeah, I'm fixing it. So I look good. I don't want to feel insecure, jealous, and envious. Amelia Nesfield says, "Man, if I wasn't washing these dishes, I'd have so much to say." Let me know if I put the sauce on it enough. I see a like, that might be a yes. Carly said, "When you believe people are hating on you, you have insecurities." Yeah, but insecurities really are, everyone should be insecure. Every single person. There's no reason not to be insecure. This is my belief. And I'm going to tell you why. Because every day, if I'm lucky, I have a chance to get up. You have a chance to get up and do what you do. You stretch and you roll out the bed and you put your clothes on, and your mind, before you even step your feet on the floor, your mind is addressing things that are happening in your day, things that you haven't even confronted yet. And all these things are going on, right? You got plans, you got your to-do list, who has to get picked up, what has to get cooked, dropped off, and this and that, and da-da-da-da. But the key element before all of that happens in your day is that you woke up. There's no promise that you're going to bed. There's no promise that once you leave that door, you're coming back in the house. How many people that we see, especially here living in New York, we see these things on the news all the time. Tragic things that happen, being run down in the street, and fires and accidents in the subway. And look at those people who were walking down the street not too long ago I think it was on the West Side, that junkie of a terrorist bomber or whatever the hell he was, and he bombed these people who were just strolling down the street. There was like a group of guys, I think, who were visiting from Argentina, who came for a reunion, strolling down the street, enjoying their time in New York City. You think they had any indication that they weren't going back to the hotel room later on that day? I don't think so. That's insecure. I'd be insecure as hell as a human. There's no promise in your humanity. There's no promise. Let's not get this twisted. There's no guarantee. You know that things are going to be temporary, and you know that the things are not going to have a permanence. You know you can rely on change. And you know you can rely on the fact that you're here today and you could very well be gone tomorrow. We all can rely on that. And that is enough to make anyone insecure. How could you feel secure in the world knowing that your life can be gone like that? So That's the positive side. When you look at what people like to coin a negative emotion, you need these emotions. These emotions are transformative. We don't want to banish, right? We don't want to. I am never insecure. There's something wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with insecurity. It's how you use it. It's the application of it. Okay. And the biggest emotion that we all are in relationship with, Carly, I see you said something about fear. Fear is the biggest, I think, most common frame of emotion that we all walk with in a more conscious way. I think we're more conscious about fear than we are about death, because even people who are scared of death have a fear of death, right? So I think fear is probably the more prominent emotion that people tend to go through. So I say all this to say, I'm just going to read you a little bit what I wrote. Let's see, where do I start? I wrote a lot. Who the hell would I be if I stopped telling myself who I'm not? That's a conflict. How do I identify the conflict? My emotions. That's why all this, forget your feelings, or it's all good, or I'm not going to give them the satisfaction of responding or letting them know how I feel. It's bullshit. Your feelings belong to you and to God as well. And if you lack a relationship with a higher power, well, then it's open season for your feelings to belong to a negative source. And when they belong to that negative source, your own emotions are not your own and can be manipulated to cause you harm to yourself and to other people. And so that's this place that I just wanted to offer up and bring here, is that please believe when you use these emotions in a way that are building blocks for your spiritual and your self-development, it can transform your life. I believe when we are out of balance internally, in conflict internally, when we're indecisive, it creates insecurity. And insecurity is simply a warning signal that something inside your own Holy Trinity needs to be reconfigured for your higher good. I'm going to read that again because I'm with it. Tyrese or Cryrese, settle down. Okay? I believe when we are out of balance internally, when we are in conflict internally, when we're indecisive, it creates insecurity. Insecurity is simply a warning signal that something inside the Holy Trinity of yourself needs to be reconfigured for your higher good. It's just a signal. It's just a, hey, something's awry. Let's take a look at it and see what's causing me this discomfort, right? So here's what happens. Usually we get that and we're like, hello, who's there? Who's outside? I'm not expecting company. Who is it? Right? Whoa, why are you answering the door? You wasn't expecting anybody. Take a step back. Andrea Binney says, I've come to understand the dynamics of the spiritual world to be so competitive. Good against evil. That's what's really happening in any confrontation. This is power struggle in its essence. I've learned to hold my place in God, resisting the evil, waiting for it to relinquish its hold can be exhausting, but it's worth it. For good must be allowed to conquer over evil. Patience does it. I agree. Patience does do it. I would say so too. And it is a struggle. But there's a way to find peace in that struggle. There's a way to find balance in that struggle. And that's just by allowing yourself to be yourself and not judge yourself, because there's resourcefulness in looking at the places that cause you discomfort. Our home is the place where we tend to be the most vulnerable, the most bare, the most revealed. If your home felt threatened by outside invaders and you didn't have protection or an alarm system to defend you at your most vulnerable, feeling insecure about your safety would be rational and expected. So most people would find a way to secure their space. This keeps us from feeling threatened in our sacred space. Security could look like a weapon, an alarm system, living in a building with buzzers, or a doorman. All of these examples represent a barrier and a boundary between you and harm. That barrier in my personally lived experience represents God. It also includes my African ancestral guides, my ancestors specifically, and myself. This example is illustrating that our being is our home. It is the place that we can feel the most at peace within the world. Of outside influences like cars honking and people yelling in the streets and sirens, that can interrupt our peace of mind and distract us from the truth about our home, which is ourself. It can cause us to focus more on what's outside the window versus what is asking for our attention inside the home. insecurity is a feeling and an indication like to go inside. Too often, instead, it causes us to go outside of ourselves and project onto others who seem like they possess what we think we don't, to be the subject of our problem. And I just feel like this is such a common thing, especially amongst women. I'm not going to say it doesn't exist amongst men also, but I think it's easy for, when we live in this very visual world and this very visual time, very social media centered, and it's easy to look at someone else and say, well, for God's sakes, look at the bodies that are going on around here with, with the butt injections and this injection and that injection. It's like, damn, nobody's happy with what they have at all. There's just no peace about what's inherently yours, and celebrating what that really looks like without it needing to be compared or cross-referenced or put in the hands of somebody else for approval. And I just feel really strongly like it's important for us to get to a spot where we really believe in what we have, not because someone else said is good, not because somebody else believes in it, but because that's what you really think and what you really believe. And when you come up against someone else and you feel that discomfort, don't run away from it, but also don't project outward. So if I'm in a situation, I'll think of a situation where I've been in before. I've been dancing most of my life. I've always gotten dance moves really easily and not really had to try very hard. And the more weight that I gained, the less that was the case. And the older I got, that was less the case. And I still got it a little bit, but it's not like it used to be. And sometimes it's challenging when I have to be in relationship with dancers who are younger than me and can do things that my body can no longer do with such ease. And I've been in these situations, and, I've found myself not wanting to talk to some of them sometimes, or I found myself not wanting to be social with them sometimes, or, I found myself thinking less of myself, like, gosh, if I look this way or if I was that way, and, and then the self-picking starts to happen. And so that's a vivid example of exactly the reference I made about the people making these changes to their body, these augmentations to their body. It's not a response to what you think you want. It's not a response to what you think you see. It's a response to how you feel. And what if we didn't respond to how we feel with an action, but rather went deeper inside and said, how does it feel? And how do I utilize it to give me a sense of centeredness inside myself versus trying to transform myself from the outside? And I think someone might hear me say this and think it's a large task. It's a large expectation, but I don't think it's that large, because I believe in the expansion of the human spirit. I believe in how far we can grow and how far we can stretch. And I don't think anything is out of our realm of capability, as long as we have the right energy working on our side. And that does involve you having some type of foundation internally that is spiritual and grounded, that takes you away from what your eyes can see, and using this eye instead to really hone in on who you are and what your intention is. Because who you are and what your intention is was perfectly made when you came out, however that is. It's funny, I work during the day. My job is I'm a senior recreation therapist, and I work with adults with special needs. And most of these individuals are way older than me. They're in their 60s and 70s. They've been living with disabilities for a very long time. And some of them are high functioning and some of them are on the lower end of function. But in either regard, one thing I never noticed in my time with them, they don't spend time picking themselves apart about what they don't have. Do not spend time picking themselves apart about their inability to communicate effectively, their inabilities to walk properly, eat properly. As a matter of fact, it's really the complete opposite. They're so just invested in their own personal ability for independence and to be able to be seen as someone who can be competent enough to take care of themselves. And they fight for it, And I think that's like, what a gift, What a gift. So many of us, Jesus, we have so much to be thankful for. And we don't stop, myself included at times, to say, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm picking everything apart in myself. And I have so much, though. How can I take this feeling of disdain that I have inside that feels like someone is better than me or someone has things that I think I should have, and really shift that gear and say, like, what is this really about? What am I really feeling? Like, is this self-judgment? Am I judging myself? Am I judging myself and am unwilling to say that out loud? And it's easier for me to project outward onto someone else. That's very easy. We project outward all day long. Somebody comes into our office who usually says good morning to us, and one day comes in and doesn't say good morning. All of a sudden, you don't know what you did. I don't know what I did to her. And what did I do? What did I do? We immediately project. Things happen. We're like, what did I do? And it's natural. We have egos. That's what they're there for. And they're there to protect us and keep us alert. But if you take a step back and you say to yourself, like, wait a second, that person's experience may have absolutely nothing to do with me. I don't know what could have occurred before I saw them or what happened before we said goodnight last night. I have no idea. You know, it gives you some distance. And so I guess what I'm sharing with you guys tonight is about creating that distance in yourself where insecurity, jealousy, and envy comes up and you don't feel the need to respond negatively outward, because this is what goes on. It saddens me to see how broken apart a lot of women relationships are, because women can spend so much time down talking other women behind their back. And if they're not down talking them, they're not liking them because of what they look like, you know, or they're treating them otherwise because they feel like, well, she's got a big ass, I don't like her. Because the words that can't really come out is that I feel inadequate because my body doesn't look like that. And I think in order for me to get what I want or be treated the way I want, I need to look like her, and she's got it. So I'm just going to take that feeling and I'm going to project it onto her. That's your stuff. That's your stuff. Let me just add in some comments here. Yali Bake says, the day we met, you told me to say to myself, I am flexible. That stayed with me forever. I believe in power of will. Oh, man, that's awesome. That's so dope. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that, Yali. And it's the truth. You are. We're all flexible. We all have this ability to expand and contract, and you know, it's not an up or down. We got to get out of this mind frame that is up, down, right, left. It is that to an extent, but then there's room for trying to just find your individuality and having a voice for that individuality. Amelia said, some of us use it as a bonding experience. Absolutely. And I've seen plenty of bonding experiences happen amongst women where they allow their insecurities to be available to everyone who's in the space or in communication so that it can create a stronger bond, because conflict is how we grow. Conflict is how we love. Conflict is how we build. If we're running from conflict, we cannot grow. You have to be in conflict. It doesn't mean you need to be angry, right? Let's not run to that definition. It doesn't mean you have to be difficult. It means that conflict means that one thing is coming from one side and one is coming from another, and there's an opposition. And that means you need to ground down, and two parties or three have to get into it to see how can we come to a common space. And that usually involves everyone being heard and being truthful and being vulnerable and being honest and open. So I love that you said that it can be used as a bonding experience, because it can if you allow yourself to have that. And so I'm going to read you a little bit more. So as opposed to this going outside for everything, right? This example that I gave about your house, your body being your house, and this being your place of peace. And if you're constantly doing a Miss Benita out the window, and who that? Oh, she moved her garbage can again. Oh, okay. Well, her son is back. Oh my goodness, he done You got a new girlfriend. Oh, who's that? Who's that over there? Oh, she ain't pick her tomatoes yet. Always out the damn window. Get your ass back in the house. Get in the house. You got your own stuff to do. Get your ass back in the house. You got your own stuff to do. You got your own closets to clean. You got your own corners to dust. Myself included. I am at home with this work. Check yourself. The next time you get into this position and you feel like this person's hating on me, or you get your fans, right, which is our family and friends, to starting with the, oh, she just hating on you, girl. Maybe not. Maybe. And maybe if she is, that's fine. But what are you doing about the part of it that includes you? Because there's information in that for you too. So instead of projecting outward, let's put that in reverse. You are your own problem, your belief system, and you may be out of whack. If your belief system is out of whack, it can cause all kinds of internally felt and externally expressed chaos, which can be known as insecurity and jealousy and envy. Insecurity has to be the work of God's Spirit. This is what I believe, because it is a dual-natured experience. The God that I serve has created a dual nature in everything he creates. If it's one-sided, it's not of a Holy Spirit. It's not. Anything that is going to flourish and love and grow and bind in a positive way is going to have two sides. That's why it's two to tango, not one. Anything that is love is going to have two sides. Love is not singular. It's two-sided. I say that because whether we all realize it or feel it or recognize it or acknowledge it every day, we get a chance to rise and shine, and there's another opportunity for us to feel our insecurity. And that is a blessing, that we can be in a position that when we can get home at the end of the day and we can lay down, it's amazing because you made it. You made it. You didn't have to. That's how close to the ground. That's how close to the ground I enjoy experiencing my life. I want to be that close to the ground because I made it and I didn't have to. And you didn't have to, and she didn't have to, and he didn't have to. And that vulnerability is everything. It is everything. And it causes you to ask questions instead of make statements. And it causes you to self-reflect instead of project. And it causes you to be empathetic instead of sympathetic. It changes your whole conversation about how you relate to yourself and the world around you. So that is what it is, right? And then we're going to talk about this some more because I am so interested in hearing people's stories of, yeah, I'm primping, by the way. Got to do it. Not because I'm feeling insecure, because my hair was all the way in the back and it was agitating me. Okay. But I want to hear stories about this. I want to hear your experience about this. You know, we have all got some very interesting relationships in which we have a lot of feelings going on with the people in our life, and these things do not get discussed. It doesn't get discussed. It doesn't get discussed. And we just consistently, you know, you see somebody, we can feel that tension. When there's a tension there and it's not being addressed, there might be some feelings there that are looking for attention, that are looking for support, that are looking for your vulnerability, not your, you know, your comments on I don't hate. And you see this thing comment like in the reality shows. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, get down to earth already. Like, speak on it. You know, like speak on the truth of the matter. I know you got ratings to produce. I get that. But that's that disdain. Insecurity, jealousy, and envy is entertaining. That's why these shows are built on that, because people will watch it because it's entertaining, right? But how do you free yourself from that so that you can be able to be in close relationship and be authentic to who you want to be and not spend your time in a relationship being close to someone and liking them, but being afraid to love them because you're angry about what they have, or you're angry about what you don't think they should have. That's crazy to me. Andrea says, our relationship with God speaks volumes. Our strength in Jesus and him only is taking a firm grip on him, refusing to relinquish the hold, and irrespective and in spite of, that requires patience for we to know in him there's complete victory. This is true. it is all about how you relate to the other side of who you are. I know we see each other every day, and so it's very easy for us to think we live in this real physical realm, and it's an illusion. We're not staying, you ain't staying, and I'm not staying. So let's work on being able to work with each other from the realest place that we are actually evolved from, and that is everlasting, and that's the spirit of who we are, right? I only want relationships in my life that are grounded in that. I really do. If it's not grounded in there, I'm okay. It's more of a casual relationship, and I'm fine with that. You know, everything is not for everybody, but it's too much to see in this day and age that you know, people can go skydiving and bungee jumping and get tattoos and, you know, pierce parts that were only meant for tissue, and they're willing to do anything. But God forbid they speak the truth about their disdain for another person that's supposed to be close to them, and tell the truth to themselves about why they really can't show up for you. I know there's people sometimes in your life that you rely on and you're asking for them to show up for you, and they can never be there. And there's a reason for that. And that might be because there's a level of insecurity, there's a level of envy, there's a level of jealousy that's there. Let's engage this conversation. What is it that is about me that might make you feel uncomfortable? Or maybe someone has to ask you that question. You know, as long as you're alive, you're going to have this experience, and it may not be something that you are comfortable with or something that you could call as quickly as you can good feelings, or that you can call more acceptable feelings that you feel less judged behind thinking and feeling. But they're real, and they need attention. So that's our show. That's it. How does 40 minutes go by so fast? I don't know. Jesus, this mouth of mine's like a windmill. It just goes and goes and goes. Thank you to everybody who came all the way through. Let's do some shout outs. I know, Amelia. I don't know how we got there. 40 minutes came and went, girl. And my phone is full, so I can't really take past 40 because then it won't save it. I need to clean it out. Thank you for joining me, Amelia. I just stopped washing the dishes. Just go put the dishes. I just stopped washing the dishes, man. You can put your comment up. I'm going to shout people out, and then we may still have some time. So Amelia and Catherine and Nikki and Ruth and Andrea and Jeannie and Amal, Fran, Michelle, Shauna, Demetrius, Lloyd, First Lady La, Lynette, Natural Collateral, Bill B. Myrie, Sandy Love, Deborah Lewis, Nadir, E. Bags, Gerald Brown, Alyssa, and I think I got everybody above you. And Cousin Nishi, Yali Bakes, Be God All the Way, Drink Cup Celebrity, Wayne G, Janice, she joined, Calden, Rayvon, Brownskin, Conceptually G, Urban World. Oh gosh, I'm gonna beat up some of y'all names on Instagram. That's terrible. I gotta take a deep breath. Okay. Eclosion 2018. I hope I said that right. The Conscious Man, Fly Guy Hack, Steve Alicious, Mr. Anderson, and I got all you above. Thank you for the kisses, Nietzsche. Mwah, I love you, cuz. Yali Bake says, I love this on Thursday nights. Keep this up, girl. I just finished setting up my 20-gallon fish tank. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that vote of confidence. It means a lot to me. Holla. Send me a picture of the fish, girl. I want to see that. So I will see everybody hopefully next week. And I'm going on vacation next week. So, you know. Okay, I'm going to look on your IG. I can't wait to tell you guys about my trip when I get back, but I should be able to do the show before I leave, so that'll be good. One last comment. Oh, Amelia said I needed all this. Thank you. You're so welcome. I needed all of you all. I look forward to seeing you. You all are the highlight of my week because you're here with me in spirit, and I look forward to this time. I really do. This is a nice decompression and a way to share love and receive it at the same time. And I love that. Last comment from Nayama Alexis. When we deny our feelings, we become less human. We have to begin to allow ourselves to feel a wider range of emotions, like sadness and anger and depression and insecurity. The problem for many of us comes when we have a difficult feeling. Ignoring our emotions is turning our back on our reality. And in reality is where we meet God. Emotions are the language of our souls. We have to trust God to come to us through our feelings. That's from Peter Scazzaro. This might be from thank you, Lexi. This might be from a book that Lexis gave me called Emotionally Spiritually Healthy. Fantastic series of books gifted to me by my best friend, Alexis. Wonderful on learning how to manage your emotions and not try to control them, because if you're trying to control your emotions, you're going to be trying to control the weather. You see how that's working out for the government, right? It's summer in winter, okay? Stop trying to control our emotions. What we can do is control the way we respond to our emotions. We choose to respond in a positive way. If we choose to respond negatively and make amends when we need to. If we choose to respond emphatically or tempersome, or you've got a wide range that you can pick from. So it's the way we respond to the emotions that we're in control of, hopefully. You guys are awesome. I think I lost my IG bunch, but I love you all. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next week. Deuces. Have a good week. Stay prayed up and stay positive. Bye.